Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Campaigning at its peak in the United States ahead of presidential polls. Kamala Harris promises abortion rights. Trump urges voters to save America. Israel says it captured a senior Hezbollah operative in northern Lebanon. Lebanese Prime Minister calls for probe. Rescue operations continue after devastating floods wreak havoc in eastern region of Valencia in Spain. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to begin 5-day visit to Australia and Singapore to boost bilateral ties. In sports, India lose Mumbai Test by 25 runs as New Zealand becomes first team in 24 years to whitewash India in India. Updates on US presidential polls 2024 as race to the White House nears the finish line. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump campaigned in North Carolina on the final weekend before the November 5 polls. It was the fourth day in a row that the candidates campaigned in the same state. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump campaigned in both North Carolina, a key swing state, and Virginia on Saturday, where he reinforced his message on the economy and immigration. Trump, at his final rally of the day in North Carolina, told voters that 5th of November election will be Liberation Day in America.
The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. On November 5th, 2024, this will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be liberation.
Later, addressing a rally in Virginia's Salem, Trump said he ran for office to rescue the economy from obliteration. Trump also addressed trans issues and vowed to protect parents' rights in Virginia rally. North Carolina backed Trump in 2020 by a narrow margin of less than 1.5 percentage points and elected a Democratic governor on the same day, giving hope to both parties. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris began her North Carolina rally by attacking Donald Trump, which she has increasingly done in the final days of election. Harris at a rally zeroed in on women's reproductive rights, warning that Trump will ban abortion nationwide. Harris also pledged to lower health care costs and accused Trump of wanting to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Earlier, campaigning in Atlanta, Harris said Trump would abuse his power if he returns to the White House.
Donald Trump is not done. He would ban abortion nationwide. He would restrict access to birth control. He would put IVF treatments at risk and, get this, force states to monitor women's pregnancies. Just Google Project 2025, which still I can't believe they put in writing. And I think everyone here knows one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government shouldn't be telling her what to do. Not the government and not Donald Trump.
U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has surpassed Republican Donald Trump in a new poll in Iowa. The poll of 808 likely voters who were surveyed October 28 to 31st has Harris leading Trump 47% to 44% in Iowa, which has been trending deeply Republican in recent years. It is within the 3.4 percentage point margin of error, but it marked a turnaround from a September Iowa poll that had Trump with a 4-point lead. Trump won Iowa in his past two presidential campaigns by more than 9 percentage points in 2016 and 8 points in 2020. More than 75 million Americans have already cast ballots, according to the election lab at the University of Florida, in a sign of voter enthusiasm. With just 2 days to go for the election day of U.S. presidential polls, Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Kamala Harris are campaigning hard in a last-minute bid to woo voters by making stop in battleground states. Take a look at DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh's report from Atlanta.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump campaigned in southern battleground states on Saturday, with Trump making stops in North Carolina and Virginia, and Harris visiting Georgia and North Carolina. At a campaign stop in Gastonia, Trump stuck to his theme of immigration and border security, warning he would deport millions of immigrants if elected.
The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. On November 5th, 2024, this will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation.
North Carolina backed Trump in 2020 by a narrow margin of less than 1.5 percentage points and elected a Democratic governor on the same day, giving hope to both the parties. Canvassing for votes, Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris called on supporters in Atlanta to finally turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump. She focused over the issue of abortion and women's right to choose.
And ours is a fight for freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
President Biden, a Democrat, won Georgia by just 0.3 percentage points in 2020. Meanwhile, in Virginia, Trump pledged to save the U.S. economy from obliteration. In North Carolina, Harris promised to give everyone a seat at the table. On Saturday, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump campaigned in the key southern states. While Kamala Harris raised the issue of abortion in a big way, Donald Trump focused on immigration, illegal immigration and border security. It remains to be seen the stand of the voters on these critical issues and who they choose to be their next president. With camera person Jay Shankar, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in Atlanta.
With the contest in the swing states very close between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, even a small percentage of votes can tip the balance. Indian Americans are present in substantial numbers in crucial swing states like Michigan, North Carolina and Pennsylvania, and they could significantly influence the election outcome. Community leaders are impressing upon the community to come out and vote in large numbers, as their vote could be crucial in deciding who wins the White House. DD India correspondent Amrit Pal Singh talked to Dr. K.A. Paul, an activist in Philadelphia who is close to both parties. He explains on how Indians are in a fix in this presidential elections.
I have with me Dr. K.A. Paul. He's an activist, an Indian American. What are you telling the Indian Americans, because you work closely with them in this election? What role do you see them playing?
India has an opportunity to make history. Number one, every Indian, 3 to 4 million voters in America, should come out and cast your vote and influence others who is not voting. Oh, my vote doesn't count. Remember, year 2000, George Bush won by 532 votes. And last two elections, Trump won in 2020 with only Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, 45,000 votes, even though 81 million were cast. And Biden won with these same three swing states. So casting your vote is the most important thing.
Which way are the Indians swinging, Dr. Paul, given that Kamala Harris has an Indian connection, but Donald Trump is also a friend of India?
Here it is. Donald Trump's vice president wife is from my hometown, Visakhapatnam. So I have relation there. And Donald is a good friend for years. But Kamala Harris is our half Indian sister. So that is why this time, for the first time in 1992 Bill Clinton, I'm not openly endorsing.
So is it a tough call for the Indians?
Very tough call. Why? Because people love Donald Trump because he loves India and he talks favorably and meets Prime Minister Modi many times and all that. But Kamala, I say, hey, I'm Indian. I count on your vote. So there is a saying, if you go front, if you go backwards, you're caught between in the hard rock.
Okay. So it's a tough call for the Indians. They are divided.
But Indians will make the difference between India and America relations. We got to play the most important role of our lifetime because India should lead.
What happens if there's not a clear winner? And what's your message to the Indian Americans and the Americans in general?
That is why I am calling for peace, fair and free elections. Because the Republicans think election is going to be rigged like January 6, 2021. What we have seen at the Capitol. Democrats think there will be a terrible violence worse than 2021 Trump time.
So that's what everybody's thinking here on everybody's mind is that what if there is not a clear verdict? Would it then go down to the wire? What sort of a situation would emerge then? With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amrit Pal Singh for DD India in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Tensions continue to escalate in West Asia, with Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei vowing a response to Israeli airstrikes on Iran. According to a report in Axios, US has warned Iran against launching another attack on Israel, adding that Washington will not be able to restrain Israel if Tehran attacks again. On October 26, Israeli airstrikes hit military sites in Iran in retaliation to the October 1st Iranian rocket attacks on Israel.
The enemies, both the USA and the Zionist regime, should know that they will definitely receive a tooth-breaking response to what they are doing against Iran, the Iranian nation, and the resistance front.
Israel has captured a senior Hezbollah operative from the Lebanese coastal city of Batroun. According to the Israeli army, the operative serves as an expert in his field. Now, audio screens is a CCTV footage obtained by Reuters, which purportedly shows Israeli naval forces capturing a person who has not been officially identified. Calling it the kidnapping of a Lebanese citizen, Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati has called for an investigation into the incident. The Israeli military said it had killed Jafar Khadr Faor, a commander of Hezbollah's Nasser Brigade rocket unit in southern Lebanon. It added that he had been responsible for multiple attacks on Israel since October 2023. The IDF also released a footage showing what it said were airstrikes on multiple Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Days after torrential rain swept the eastern region of Valencia in Spain, cleanup and rescue efforts continued throughout on Saturday. The historic flash floods in Spain have killed at least 214 people till now, and dozens were still unaccounted. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said the government would provide the necessary resources, including sending 10,000 more troops and police officers to help with the search operation and cleanup process. The tragedy is already Europe's worst flood-related disaster since 1967, which killed at least 500 people in Portugal. Frustration and anger among despairing Spain residents continue to grow at the state's response on handling the devastating floods that had destroyed towns in eastern Spain. On Saturday, Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez conceded the response has been insufficient as he announced the deployment of 10,000 extra soldiers and police officers. According to the latest toll, Valencia's catastrophic flood had killed at least 214 and left dozens missing. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. ISRO launches India's first analog space mission. We will show you how people celebrated Bhai Dooj in Ayodhya. Shimla's air quality impresses tourists.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, is on a 5-day visit to Australia and Singapore. External Affairs Minister reached Brisbane, where he will inaugurate India's 4th consulate. During the visit, Jaishankar will also co-chair the 15th Foreign Ministers Framework Dialogue with Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong in Canberra. The minister will deliver the keynote address at the inaugural session of the 2nd Raisina Down Under to be held in the Australian Parliament House. EAM is also scheduled to have interactions with Australian leadership, parliamentarians, members of the Indian diaspora, business community, media and think tanks. On the second leg of the visit, EAM will travel to Singapore for an official visit on 8th of November, during which he will address the 8th Roundtable of ASEAN, India network of think tanks. He will also meet the leadership of Singapore to review the close partnership between the two countries and explore avenues to further enhance the bilateral relationship. The Bharatiya Janata Party released its manifesto for the upcoming assembly elections in eastern Indian state of Jharkhand, outlining its commitments to the state. Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah said the upcoming election in the state is not just an election to change the government, but an election to ensure the future of Jharkhand.
भाइयों बहनों, झारखंड का ये चुनाव न केवल सरकार बदलने का चुनाव है, झारखंड का ये चुनाव झारखंड का भविष्य सुनिश्चित करने का चुनाव है। झारखंड की महान जनता ने तय करना है कि आकंठ भ्रष्टाचार में डूबी हुई सरकार चाहिए या विकास के रास्ते पर मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में चलती हुई भाजपा सरकार चाहिए। बेरोजगारी से त्रस्त युवा, पेपर लीक से त्रस्त युवा आज भाजपा में आशा की दृष्टि से अपना भविष्य ढूंढ रहे हैं।
India's Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnav arrived in southern Indian state of Kerala for a one-day visit on Sunday. The minister is travelling from Alova to Kozhikode by train to review the railway development activities. At the Kozhikode railway station, he will be reviewing various rail development projects undertaken by the Palakkad Railway Division, one of the 6 administrative divisions of the Southern Railway Zone of Indian Railways. Later in the evening, Minister Vaishnav will inaugurate the Golden Jubilee celebration of Janmabhoomi newspaper at Calicut Trade Centre in Kozhikode. Indian Space Research Organisation has started the country's first analog space mission at Leh in North India's Ladakh, where space agency will simulate life in an interplanetary habitat. The move assumes significance as India is planning to send a human to the moon in near future. Analog space missions are field tests in location on Earth that have physical similarities to the extreme space environments and play a significant role in problem solving for space flight research. Ladakh has been chosen for such a mission as the geographical features of the area, dry and cold climate, barren land, high altitude terrain and extreme isolation are considered to closely resemble Martian and lunar landscapes. Delhi Air Quality Index continues to deteriorate as it crossed the 500 mark on Sunday, 2 days after Diwali. Even on Sunday morning, Delhiites woke up to a thick layer of smog as the air pollution level now lies in the alarming hazardous category in the national capital, which is detrimental to the health of people living in Delhi and its adjoining areas. Shockingly, Delhi's air is getting worse every day, despite all possible measures, such as the Graded Response Action Plan already being implemented in the national capital. The Commission for Air Quality Management ordered the implementation of the Graded Response Action Plan in Delhi NCR on October 21 after the overall air quality index dropped to the very poor category in the region. On the other hand, after the Diwali celebrations, North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh has shown promising air quality results, with air quality index in Shimla remains comfortably below 50. Tourists visiting the Queen of Hills, Shimla, are taking notice of the healthier environment, praising the fresh air, scenic beauty and cleanliness. The other cities across the Himalayan state also experiencing normal to good levels. Environment experts are crediting a growing awareness of Green Diwali practices and an increasing shift toward using green crackers for the improvement. Let's take a look at other stories making news today. A large number of devotees gathered in holy city of Ayodhya on Sunday to seek blessings from saints and take a holy dip in the river Saryu on the occasion of Bhai Dooj, a festival to celebrate the bond of brothers and sisters. With the festive rush underway, Indian Railways is ensuring that passengers have a safe travel experience and preventing any uncertainty. Special trains and additional coaches introduced to help the commuters reach their native places for the ongoing festivity and the upcoming Chhath celebrations. Indian cricket team on Sunday hit a new low as their pursuit of a consolation victory to avoid an embarrassing 3-0 series whitewash against New Zealand failed on day 3 of the final test at the Wankhede Stadium. Chasing a modest target of 147, India was left reeling at 67 for 7 with Rishabh Pant holding fort from one end. He fell on 64 runs. New Zealand's Ajaz Patel wreaked havoc on the Indian top order, claiming 6 key wickets, while the hosts struggled to negotiate the spin-friendly conditions. India's innings got off to a shaky start when skipper Rohit Sharma, who had endured a difficult series, fell for just 11. Patel then struck a decisive blow, dismissing Shubman Gill, who had top scored with 90 in the first innings. Virat Kohli, who has had a disappointing series with the bat, fell soon after for 1. Kohli's failure left India struggling at 18 for 3 and increased the pressure on the remaining batters, who succumbed to spin bowling of Ajaz Patel and Glenn Phillips. New Zealand, who secured their first Test series win on Indian soil since 1955, have been dominant throughout, winning the first Test in Bengaluru by 8 wickets and the second Test in Pune by 113 runs. The series victory also ended India's 18 series winning streak at home, dating back to a loss against England in 2012. All right, and DD India correspondent Narayan Singh is joining us live to tell us more what went south for Team India. Hi Narayan, a very good afternoon to you. When Team India came on to bat today at the Wankhede Stadium, everyone in fact was thinking that it will be a win for the Indian side, at least in the third Test match after losing 2 back-to-back Test matches. But everything just flipped completely upside down. What went wrong, Narayan? How do you analyze this match?
Good afternoon, Siddharth.
Yeah.
We talk about this match. Definitely, it's a heartbreak, not only for the cricketers, but for all the cricket fans who are watching in the hope that at least India will register a win in this third match. And now, with the series is lost and it's a whitewash. And first time we can say that it is happening, that is India is being whitewashed in a 3-match series. And even when Indian team was not a powerhouse in the world cricket during those time also, this has never been witnessed. At that time,
in fact, New Zealand, became first team in 24 years to whitewash India in India.
Yeah, last time it was by South Africa who did this thing, achieved this feat. But that was a 2-match series where South Africa was a dominant force at that time. They were the world power of the cricket under Hansie Cronje. But talking about this New Zealand team, Tom Ladden team, who was the captain of the team in the absence of the Kane Williamson, even the Kiwis, even the ardent fan of the New Zealand team would have not hoped for this result, that they will whitewash a mighty Indian cricket team. Yeah. And this, in the whole history of the first home match, India played That was in Chennai in 1952. And after that, this is happening for the first time. There were India lost the 3-match series during those period also against West Indies, against Australia. But those matches were the 5-match series where they lost the 3 matches and drew the remaining matches. So this is unthinkable and unimaginable in today's scenario that India is losing is being clean swept.
Definitely, India getting clean swept by that too by New Zealand. Certainly, they will work on their skills. They have to, in fact, because next they are going down under and they will play 5 test matches against Australia. They have to win all the 5 test matches in order to see their chances in WTC final, if at all. But thank you so much for your analysis, Narayan. We leave it there. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.